I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. We have read about all the turmoil in the northern kingdom of Israel during the time that Asa reigned in Judah. 7 kings reigned in Israel during Asa's time as king in Judah. We had 2 assassinations, a civil war, all a bloody mess. Let us return now to the end of the reign of Asa. We are going to turn back to 1 Kings, chapter 15, verses 23 and 24. It says here, "And the rest of all the acts of Asa, and all his might, and all that he did, and the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? Nevertheless, in the time of his old age, he was diseased in his feet. And Asa slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his stead." Now that's an interesting little detail, isn't it? He was diseased in his feet. Doesn't tell us what this disease was, but it evidently contributed to his death. It was significant enough a disease to be mentioned. Now, 2 verses isn't enough for a single video. So we are going to flip over to chapter 22 and read verses 41 through 45. It states here, "And Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, and his might that he shewed, and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah?" So we're going to end it there. The beginning of Jehoshaphat's reign. He becomes king in the 4th year that Ahab is king in Israel. And at some point in his reign, which we'll read about a little bit more later, he makes peace with Israel. Up to this point, Israel and Judah have been at constant odds with each other. Hostilities, probably constant border skirmishes. But now, with Jehoshaphat, we make peace. Hostilities cease. Now, we will see how that goes in future videos, but I also want to point out, you'll note that the death of Asa is mentioned in chapter 15. Halfway through chapter 15, Asa dies. But we are not told of the beginning, or really the details of Jehoshaphat's reign, until chapter 22. So we go through 16, 17, 18, and 19, and most of chapter 22, because Jehoshaphat is only mentioned at the end of chapter 22. So 16, 17, 18, 19, half of 22, and part of 15. So we're talking about 5 chapters between the death of Asa and the reign of Jehoshaphat. I just want to mention this as a note that, remember my video I made about trying to line up the timeline of kings and how it jumps back and forth. And this is a good example of it. In chapter 15, Asa dies. When he dies, it then skips back to the story of Jeroboam. No, not the story of Jeroboam. It then skips back to the story of Baasha. It skips back to the story of, Jeroboam's son, Nadab, and then Baasha, and those things that happened during Asa's reign. And then, since Ahab becomes king during Asa's reign, we get the rest of Ahab's reign. After we read it, we get the rest of Ahab's reign, and then we skip back to Asa's son, Jehoshaphat. So just wanted to show that this is how this works. So this is why we're skipping 5 chapters, or reading portions of 2 chapters that are 5 chapters apart, because that's how these books are set up. Anyways, we're going to leave that here, and we pick this up. I believe we're going to be reading, we have one more thing to mention about old Asa, and then we will start into the reign of Ahab and the reign of Jehoshaphat. So we will see you there.